I look at the AI space and I see so much investment going in, and I just don't see as much returns coming in.
What's the largest application of AI today in consumer or in enterprise? It is knowledge access.
What we saw was the advent of sort of the RAG model, but there's a lot of complexity with that.
It's actually very hard to make AI work inside your enterprise. You have lots of data, so you can't actually just take the same AI technology, how it was built outside the enterprise, and actually make it work in the enterprise.
And basically what you're doing is you're connecting to all these different platforms and just integrating that data.
We're probably the first company to bring transformers into the enterprise.
This is just such a great example of how AI is going to break so many of those silos. Welcome, and thank you for tuning in to What the Future podcast. Today is a special one. We're showcasing our very first AI startup, Glean, with their CEO and founder, Arvind Jain. Now, you might know Arvind from his days at Google, where he worked on this little project called Google Search, which obviously has gone on to be the largest, most popular search engine in the world. He later went on to be co-founder of Rubrik, which just went public last year, and now he's moved on to Glean. Why do I like these guys so much? First, it's the people. Not only does Arvind have the chops to be a CEO and founder of Glean, but he's also surrounded himself with great leaders, including great investors, advisors, and he's recruiting great salespeople. Second, the numbers. The numbers don't lie. $600 million in funding at a $4.6 billion valuation. They have over 400 customers. And within 3 years, they got to 100 million ARR, which is very rare in this business. And last, I love that they're going after a huge market. There's going to be a lot of competition in this space. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Glean started off as more of a search engine, and now they've moved on more to an agentic AI. Now, if you don't know what agentic AI is or agents, you will soon. And hopefully we can help you understand that a little bit better. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed the show. We got to change the game. I'm often talking to people about what's that next great technology, or what's that next new trend, or what's that next great company. What I always find myself promoting for the last year has been Glean. And so I'm super excited today to have their CEO and founder, Mr. Arvind Jain. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. It's exciting to get a chance to talk to you for sure.
So Arvind, I have been in sales, tech sales, my entire career. I talk to salespeople all the time. Talk to sales leaders, CROs. It's a group, a community that's really tight. And when I see certain salespeople go to certain companies, I start to take notice. And you did that. And I also understand you went from 0 to 100 million in ARR in 3 years. Okay, so those salespeople that went there early are now benefiting from your growth. So I have seen you guys from the outside. I'm so excited to hear the whole story. But maybe if you can start first with like your founder story and how did you end up with Glean?
Sure. So my background, so I grew up in India, went to study computer science, got an engineering degree, and then came to the States. Worked at quite a few companies, many startups, Google being one of them. And then we started Rubrik in 2014. And that was the first time that I was actually learned how to be an entrepreneur. We had good success with the company, grew fast, and but 5 years in, we started to realize that the company was actually not doing as well as we wanted it to be. Our productivity was dropping as we were growing the team, and that's when this idea for Glean came about, because one of the big reasons for why we were struggling to have the same level of efficiency and productivity as we used to have when we were smaller was that as the company grew, people started to get lost. Like they couldn't figure out, where the right information was that they needed to do their work. They couldn't figure out who were the people who could help them, and that's the problem that it was not a new problem. Like I've always faced that. I faced that at Google, like, ironically, where we were working hard on making it easy for people to find information in their personal lives, but we're not helping any one of us inside the company find anything. You couldn't find anything inside Google. And so it's a problem that has often, like, made me struggle. And 2019 was the time when I felt it was enough and I wanted to just solve the enterprise search uh, as a challenge, and started Glean.
So you've had this amazing success. What do you attribute that to? What did you guys get right?
Well, I mean, the first thing first, like, this is a large problem. When you think about any person, any company in the world, when they work, of course, you need knowledge, you need information to do your work, as a knowledge worker. And we're living in this world where we are inundated with information. There's a lot of data inside our companies, there's a lot of documentation. It's also spread across many, many different systems. The SaaS transformation and the revolution that we went through, it further fragmented our enterprise data and knowledge into many different silos. So the problem of, like, I need some information to do my work, this is very fundamental. And unfortunately, it wasn't solved. So that allows us to actually be in this market where every single company in the world is a potential customer. In fact, every employee in that company is going to be a user of our product. So we are in a very, very large market, which is also not created yet, in the sense that the we're not there's not a lot of competition, there's not a lot of other great products out there, and we get to shine, with the product, because we took interest in solving this problem before other people did, in some ways. So I guess that's the that's the core for whatever level of success we're attaining, right, achieving right now. I mean, we're very early, just to be clear. Like, I think you made it sound like,
Sure.
we've become super successful, but so that's not the case. But I think, we have a good start, we have a good technology.
For sure, for sure. But I do want to call out that we are an AI focused podcast, right? And so we are going to be focusing on this market specifically with businesses and enterprise. That's
Yeah.
going to be our focus. But I look at the AI space and I see so much investment going in, and I
Yeah.
just don't see as much returns coming in.
Mhm.
And that has been such a huge gap. And so, like, as much as you're humble about the 100 million, in ARR in 3 years, I totally understand what you're saying. But I also think what you're backing up, what I've been suspecting, has been AI is creating this amazing opportunity to do things differently.
Yeah.
And so it seems like it's not just your brilliance and the people and everything else. There's some market wins that are in your favor,
Yeah.
that are helping you with that growth, right?
100%. Like, if you think about what's the largest application of AI today in consumer or in enterprise, it is knowledge access. It is,
Yes.
people using AI as a tool to ask questions, get answers back, or ask AI to do some work for them, which AI is able to complete with a human-like intelligence. So knowledge access is the largest application, and so the fact that we were working on um, knowledge access as our core problem actually put us in the right time, in the
Mhm.
right place. The there's a like, when think about enterprises, it's actually a very hard problem to make AI work inside your enterprise. You have lots of data, but it's actually spread across many, many different systems. This data is actually not like the data on the public web, that everybody in your company can access all the data. It's permissioned, it's secured. And so you can't actually just take the same AI technology, how it was built outside the enterprise, and actually make it work in the enterprise. You have to figure out different solutions. And we were figuring out those solutions for the last 6 years, because this was our goal, that people come and ask questions in Glean and we answer those questions for them. We had access to the transformers models. In fact, we're probably the first company to bring transformers into the enterprise. We were working on these models in 2019, but those models were not as good at the time. So we couldn't imagine in 2019 that using these models, we can take people's questions and answer them. We could only go as far as, like, we could take their questions and understand them at some degree of concept, conceptually, and surface the right information, match it up with the right information inside your company. But we're still thinking in the realm of people ask questions and we surface information. But as these models, as AI models got better and better, it allowed us to create this amazing chat GPT like experience where you come to Glean, you ask questions, and we can answer all of those questions using all of the world's knowledge, but also all of your internal knowledge. So AI has been a big factor, both in terms of technology, like how it actually made our product so much better, help us achieve our mission, in a much more accelerated fashion. But it also created that demand in the market. So before we had to evangelize, remember I told you that we had to create the market, and we had to go in and convince people that, hey, like you like go and invest in a good search product. And but now once people saw ChatGPT, everybody wants a ChatGPT inside their company, and that's what we are. So it actually created that demand also instantly. And so those were some of the factors. So you're right that, like, AI has played a big role in actually making us successful.
Could we take a step back just a second? And for the people who haven't used Glean in the past, could you just tell us, the bigger value proposition?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a lot of AI search and things like that,
Yeah.
but Glean is a lot
Yeah.
more
So
than that.
yeah. So Glean, like, first, think of Glean just like your ChatGPT. It's a ChatGPT inside your company. Glean is connected with all of your enterprise systems. It knows what people are talking about in Slack. It knows what documents people are writing in Google Drive or SharePoint. It's connected to your Salesforce, your Workday, your ServiceNow, like all the different systems inside your enterprise. And using all of that, it basically builds an understanding of your company. It understands your people, your business, your documents and knowledge and relationships between them. After we do all of that, now we give you a chat GPT like experience. You come in, you ask questions, and we will use all of the world's knowledge as well as all of your internal company's data and knowledge in a safe and secure way to deliver those answers back to you. But it's an AI product, so you can also give it some work, and we'll actually do that work for you. And so that's the core of what we are. It's a more powerful version of ChatGPT inside your business. But the same platform that we've used to build this product, we also make it directly available to our customers. And that actually makes us a very powerful AI agent building platform. So you can take the Glean product inside your company, and now you can actually start to build these, functional agents across your different departments. You can build an agent in your HR team to help answer people's questions. You can build a agent in your legal team to automatically redline third-party contracts. You can build an agent, in your sales team to prospect and find new customers. We are a horizontal platform. Since we're connected with all of your enterprise systems, we're able to actually give you one single unified platform where you can build agents, for all the different business use cases.
Yeah. So, I mean, the thing that's interesting about this is what you're talking about. When OpenAI created ChatGPT and everybody started taking a look at that, and like you say, everybody
Yeah.
wanted that inside their company. And then what we saw was the advent of sort of the RAG model, resource augmented generation, that went along with ChatGPT and integrated into that. But there's a lot of complexity with that, right? I mean, you had to have things in the right format. You had to have them accessible to various databases and
Yeah.
things like that. You had to aggregate that information. And basically what you're doing is you're connecting to all these different platforms and just
Yeah.
integrating that data. So
Yeah.
that work is kind of
Yeah.
already done, right? And then like as somebody who uses Glean pretty much on a daily basis, I would say, I got to say, you mentioned the agents, and I will say, I think that's one of the best features, because one of the things that's challenging about a big search is
Yeah.
how much data you surface. And the two things that I think are super useful in Glean are the agents. That sort of like, you have a bot that just specifically tailors itself
Yeah.
to information. Like I want all the competitive information, and that goes here. I want all the engineering information, that goes here. And you have an agent that surfaces that, and then I think the other thing that is really interesting about it too is the concept of collections, where you can organize all that into collections. Can you talk about how that all interacts?
So we start first with the building the core platform, connecting all the different systems. Now, typically in a business, they will do two things. They will take our general purpose assistant and they'll give it to all of their employees. And the model there is that, well, look, this is a safer, more comprehensive version of ChatGPT. Do whatever you want to do with it. It's connected to all of the world's data, is connected to all of your internal data. So it's not targeted to solve a specific problem. It's supposed to be this general purpose AI assistant. And so the goal behind that is that, let AI bring AI to everybody's day-to-day work, help people become experts in terms of using AI, make it part of their day-to-day habit, and actually hopefully save them a few hours of time every week as they do their work. They can offload some of that to this personal assistant. So that's the first thing that typically companies will do. But then, once the platform is running inside your organization, now we will actually go and work with each of your functional teams. We'll spend some time with your IT team, with your HR team, engineering team, sales, support, legal, and the idea is to understand what are some of those key business processes that consume a lot of time today for them. And so for the legal team, it could be you need a lot of people to redline third-party contracts that are coming your way. And so then we will say that, look, we'll take these time-consuming business processes and we're going to build a specific agent that works with only the relevant knowledge that is needed for that particular task. And it will actually have a few additional capabilities. You'll have specific instructions. For example, in this case, a paralegal, they have a process. They have something in their mind, how when they go review a third-party contract, what are the things they're looking for? They're looking at indemnity clause, and they'll compare it with with your standard paper to see what the differences are. So there's a lot of embedded knowledge that you can actually now tell AI. When you're building this agent, you can tell AI that, hey, this is how I do this work. Now you have to do it for me. So these agents are typically built where they solve a very specific functional use case. They're connected with only a subset of your company's information. They have some extra instruction and logic. And then finally, they have the ability to actually make changes in your system. So they're not just answering questions, they're actually doing some work and saving that work in your enterprise systems. So that's typically the approach that we follow. And then we see agents across all these different teams that companies have built. We've taken about 100 million agentic actions in the last 1 year as we started to sort of roll out this agent platform.
Wow. I'll say there's another really interesting use case for Glean that I really like. And, there's so many people out there using Slack, but and there's so much information in Slack. I mean, especially in an organization that's centered around Slack, for example. And getting at that information is really hard, but so incredibly useful. And Glean does a great job of finding those threads inside of Slack to surface those so that you can really get useful information out of them. Can you talk about that?
A lot of times, first of all, AI works well if it learns from the humans, inside your company. And there is no better place to learn how people are interacting and how they're working, but to go in Slack. That's the melting pot. That's where discussions happen. That's where people ask questions. That's where other people answer those questions. And so interesting thing is that we are connected. Slack is one of our data sources, just like any other, like all the other systems that I mentioned, but one of the most important ones, because this is where we learn things like who are subject matter experts on different topics.
For
Like,
sure.
in the past, like, this was something that companies would try to catalog, and those catalogs will become obsolete, before they actually even get built out. um, and but now you can actually see, like, you can see on any given topic, on any given subject matter, who are the people who are most active, who are the ones who are responding to answers that people have. And so that serves as a very good uh, sort of input for us to understand an enterprise, to understand people, and understand also, like, what knowledge is the most meaningful one for people, what knowledge has high engagement. But we do that same work across many different systems. We're doing the same thing even for Google
Right,
Drive.
right.
Like, think about, like, a simple question, like, let's say I'm looking for a product roadmap. In our company, we must have 10,000 product roadmaps, and they've all been built over the years. So when I'm asking for one right now, most likely I actually trying to look for a new one, like, not old ones. So the AI
Right.
systems had to learn how to ignore the old ones. I'm also probably looking for one that's written by the head of product or somebody in the product team. I'm not looking for the product, a copy of the document that a salesperson made to actually share with the customer. So you have to sort of go and understand these kind of nuances about a business. You really have to learn, like, how a human learns inside a company, and that's when your AI system actually works the best.
Yeah, I find that because a lot of individuals in a company will create
Mhm.
bits of content and presentations, and they'll slightly adapt them for very specific kind of scenarios. And the ability to like surface that stuff so that you can actually access it is really valuable.
Absolutely.
So we established that there's a nice momentum going into AI. Where do you think it goes from here? What do you envision for the future of AI search and specifically for Glean?
We are in a very early stages of the market today. First of all, from an AI perspective, AI is going to be a fundamental part of our lives. A lot of work that we do as a knowledge worker, we won't be doing that anymore 5 years from now. And search is going to be a core, one of the top use cases of AI. It is today and will remain the top use cases for AI in the next 5 years. What it means for us as a company is that I think we believe we have a big opportunity to succeed here as the first mover, as the recognized leader in this space today. And we're excited about that. We're excited about transforming work for people, and and get to this future world, like, the world that we think we're going to be in, where, imagine, uh, like, today, like, if you're a CEO of a company, you get a lot of luxuries, with that role. You get assistants, you have a chief of staff, you have an executive team, you even get coaches, like, just like
Mhm.
professional sports players. CEOs these
Mhm.
days, get coaches. And it's this amazing team of people around you that makes you the superstar, that makes you the person that makes a lot of impact inside the company. But if you look at a new graduate that joins your company, they got none of that luxuries. They have to be on their own. Now, I think in the future, we believe that everyone, regardless of your seniority, you're going to have this amazing team around you, a team of assistants, co-workers, and coaches that are not only going to be doing most of your work for you, but they're also going to help you become better at what you do. They will coach you, offer that personalized coaching. And the only difference is that this team is not a team of humans anymore, of course. This is a team of AI agents that is helping you continuously with your work. And that's the opportunity for us. When you think about search actually evolves. We started with a search, which is a Google like experience where, well, give me a few keywords or ask me a question, and I will try to surface a few links to the right information. And then you're on your own, like, go and read those documents. Hopefully, you'll find what you're looking for. So we evolved from there to this new model, which is ChatGPT, where, well, no, ask the question, I'll give you the precise answer. I'm not going to make you go read a 30-page document. um, but it just keeps evolving from there. The next stage of it is that it's not just sitting there waiting for you to go and ask a question and then it responds with an answer. It's going to become proactive. It's actually, it's always with you. It knows your work life. It knows what you're doing right now. It detects that you have a question or that you're working on this piece, and it can actually help you by surfacing some information back to you. It becomes proactive. So that's sort of like, that's how, like, when you think about the evolution of search, we're going to continuously going to see it becoming more and more powerful, and more proactive.
Yeah. Yeah. You've one of the things that you guys have done in a very short amount of time is you've scaled, very quickly. And I think, there's a couple things that go along with that. Like, when you're working with AI and you're working with confidential documents internally, scaling for large enterprises is really a challenging thing. But beyond that, scaling and keeping everything secure is a really difficult challenge. How did you approach that?
Great question. The security is actually one of the most important, uh, prerequisite, to rolling out AI in an effective, scalable manner inside your company. You have to solve for a lot of different types of security problems. You have to make sure that none of your data leaves your enterprise. So when you build your technology, um, we from day one built our product in a way where it can actually live within your own cloud premises. Because imagine this, like, as a startup, I go and ask Coca-Cola that, well, like, I'll build a great search experience for you. All you have to do is give me all of your data across all of your different systems. And
And your
yeah,
recipes and
and
everything.
so
Yeah.
that's not going to fly. So you have to build the system where
Yeah.
you can tell them that, look, I'm not taking anything away. None of your data is going to leave your environment. So that was the first security problem that we had to solve. And this applies to AI, and the model and inferencing. Like, no company wants those sensitive data that now people are putting into these chatbot interfaces to leave their company and become part of the
Yeah.
training data set of these models.
And that's a big problem for a lot of companies. I think a lot of companies don't realize they've got a lot
Yeah,
of employees out there that are just going to the free version of
yeah, and actually
ChatGPT
doing that.
and basically leaking all
Yeah,
their private information out
absolutely.
onto
So
the
that's a big
internet.
problem. So you got to solve for that. And I think, like, the enterprise version of these products, as well as Glean, of course, we will give you that guarantee that none of your data is ever going to be used to train these models.
Right.
And but then that's actually only part of the challenge. The second challenge, is that, well, information inside the company is protected. You may have a document that you write and you kept it for only for yourself. It's private to you, or you may share it with two other people. And so everybody else in the company should not be able to make use of that information. You can't train all of your you can't train your models on all of your enterprise data. So you have to do this safely. When any AI experience that you build, you have to understand what knowledge does the individual has access to and only use that to help them with AI on it. So that's we do. So we do a lot of work on that, understanding permissions and governance architecture across these systems, across these applications inside the company. um, and you have to go above and beyond that too, because oftentimes companies don't have great control governance controls in place. Like, they have gaps. They have sensitive documents that are sitting somewhere in SharePoint. Nobody can find it, so it's okay today, but they're not protected. Like, somehow discovered somebody discovered them, they could access it. So we, like, we do a lot of work on that front to understand, like, if there are overexposed sensitive documents inside the company, and how do you, like, make sure that you go above and beyond permissions and protect exposure of that documents in AI. And then, like, this is a new space. AI is helping you do things in a different way. And similarly, there are new types of security attacks that are now possible. For
Sure.
example, there can be prompt injection attacks, and before you realize it,
Yep.
sensitive information is leaking your company, and so you have to sort of be robust to that. So this is a place where we spend so much of our time. In fact, I think even in a sales cycle, because when we talk about sales, the I would say that 50% of our time when we're trying to sell is actually talking about these problems. And over
Yeah.
time, over the years, we have to figure out how to change those conversations from being defensive and try to win the hearts of the security team. Yeah,
Hearts and minds.
to actually go on the offensive and actually try to understand what they are worried about. And like as AI is gonna get rolled out, they know this, and what are the things they need to do to actually be ready for it. And so like a lot of our features now are actually features that we built for the security teams.
Well, and that's got to be a really big differentiator for you guys. And when I say differentiator, you know, some of the competition you're going up against, there, there's other competitors out in the field, but probably the bigger one is like doing it yourself inside your company. And from what I've seen out there, a lot of folks, they're trying to build a RAG model, for use inside their company, and they don't have the expertise or the experience, or quite frankly, the vast user base to test it against, to really surface a lot of those security challenges. So they start rolling these models out and these RAG augmented search functions within their company, and it's a train wreck, right? So I mean, that's got to be something you can walk in and just say, hey, wow, don't waste your time doing that. We've already got that problem solved.
Yeah, that's definitely a big one. I think DIY has been the largest competition in some ways, but I think it's not a bad idea. Like I think it's good for enterprises to actually get their hands dirty, to actually play with these systems, to actually understand what are some of the key challenges as they build these AI systems.
So they appreciate you more.
Yeah, well, one thing that's true, but also I think they need to learn. I think like every enterprise out there, they need to make sure that there's enough exposure to both using and building AI systems internally. So for us, what has happened here more is people build these initial rack prototypes, and they will take that. Okay, I want this, this application, I want to work on this set of files that I have in this, in this particular folder in Google Drive, and I'm going to take all of them, I'm going to stand up a vector database, chunk those contents, put them in, and now I actually have a nice experience. And then they realize that, oh, I have to do this every day because there's more content being generated. And then they also realize that, well, I mean, this content, it had permission sets on it. And I'm not going to actually go and work on figuring out what information can be accessed by whom and build all these access controls. So that's when they come to us. And they say that, look, we figured out, there's a use case, there's value, we know what we're doing. And now just help us take care of those infrastructure type, level technologies. And so it actually works, pretty good for us. So like DIY, I would say has been a good source of leads for us.
Do you do a lot of professional services with your deployments? Is that a big part of it?
We don't do as we do have professional services team. In fact, we also have a team that's called the AI outcomes team, and this team will actually help our customers build agents, build prompts, and but I think our core model is that we're bringing a technology to you, and we will bring some support with it, but we're not actually building. For example, we're not writing a lot of code for our customers as professional services. We may write some prompts and some agents for them, but most of it is uh, think of it as initial training and onboarding. Like the services that we
Right.
bring are sort of meant for that. And our goal is to make the customer self-sufficient, with our system at some in 6 months, for example.
I'm curious, who is your ideal customer? Who are you selling to?
So we typically work with the large enterprises and mid-sized enterprises. This is actually a very interesting problem. We have a product that appeals to everyone. Like you could be in the smallest of
That's
the
why I'm
company,
asking.
in the largest of the company, and you could be engineer, or you could be a marketer, or you could be a person in legal. This is so fundamental. So like internally, like we have different teams. Like we actually cater to any company that is 100 employees all the way to 200,000 employees. Uh, More than 50% of our effort is on the large enterprises, but we've segmented the markets. This is a and then within industry verticals, we've largely like focused on like around 5 to 6 key industry verticals, including of course technology, financials, healthcare, manufacturing, retail, telco. um, but we're realizing increasingly that we need to figure out some other magic formula to scale ourselves and bring the product to everybody in the company. There's a big need for it.
You got to find companies that have enough data to actually surface to make it worthwhile, I would imagine,
I
right? That's why enterprise is so good.
Yeah, I think, well, actually, like, look, I think look the data, like we are in a very data rich world these days, and you could actually be 100% company, and you still are producing so much information, you can't keep up with it.
Yeah.
Like just go in Slack and look at your Slack and see at a 100% company, like how many messages are being exchanged every day. So data is available. And that's why the product actually works very well. Like regardless of whether you're a 100% company or a 200,000 person company.
You know what's really interesting to me is, as a sales guy selling tech for so long, every company is asking themselves, how do you get to the business? How do you get to the business? We've always been selling to the tech. We've always been selling to
Yeah.
CIO, CTO. You know, this is just such a great example of how AI is going to break so many of those silos that like now everyone is in technology. If you're a CFO or a chief marketing officer or whatever, sales officer, you need technology to be successful, and AI is breaking that. So like I love that. It's pretty cool.
Exciting times.
Totally. So before we close it up, Arvind, please wrap it up for us. Like, what are the things that you want our viewers to know about Glean, and any color you want to add about the future?
Yeah, well, first, I think the I think the advice that I have for everyone is like go embrace AI today. Like whether it is our product or some other product, I think playing with AI is just incredible. The world collectively doesn't know what AI can do for it today. Like you'll only figure it out the more we actually ask ChatGPT or ask Glean to do something and see like how AI fares at that. So I think being in that mode where you can be experimental, where you can tinker, and we can change your habit and instinct. Like so my habit and instinct now is that, and you ask me to do anything and I become lazy. Like the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask him to see if AI is actually going to do it for me. He asked me to write, my note for the all hands, like what I'm going to speak with the people. I'll first actually ask, AI to actually write the draft for me, and then of course I will tweak it. So, but in terms of like Glean, where we are headed, so we are, if you like, if you are a company with with 100 people or more, we are a product that can be useful to you. Think of us as a horizontal AI investment that you will make. One product that you bring connected with all of your systems, and it will actually bring AI to you, to all of your different functions with a single platform. So it's an effective, cost efficient strategy to bring Glean as your core AI platform for your entire enterprise. There's a lot of new stuff that is coming out. We're really excited about agents. We've been shipping agents for the last 18 months, but there's a lot of progress that the industry has made on agentic systems. With our agent platform, you don't have to be a developer, you don't have to be an IT, you can be an HR person, you could be a legal lawyer, you could be a finance specialist, and yet you can take that painful business process that you have, where you have to spend so much time and you don't like it, and actually get command AI to actually do that work for you by building an agent. So that's what we're super excited about.
Oh, agentic
Fantastic.
AI. That's going to be the word that's going to be searched a lot, is agents. For the next 12
That's
months,
right.
that's going to be a big SEO word for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Jain, very cool stuff that you're doing. So proud of you, the whole team there at Glean, doing what you guys are doing. I wish you the best. Thank you so much for coming on the show. If anybody is interested in meeting with Glean, please reach out to me personally, and I'll make sure you are in good hands. Because this is something that I think everybody needs to know about. Doesn't matter what role you are in the organization, you should know about Glean. Thank you again.
Thank you so much for
Thanks
having
so
me.
much.
Thank you.
Well, that's the show. But before you roll, sales pitch warning. Might get a bit skibbity Ohio. We're building more than just a brand here. We're building a community of alphas. So do what all the other cool kids are doing and gas us up, bruh. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, leave no crumbs. I'm being dead ass. Whew, damn. I just ate that. Peace.